guests, Kiwanians, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kiwanis Club of Kingsport's 2026 Mayoral Candidate Forum. As Kiwanians, we value our strong heritage and our commitment to civic responsibility and to our mission of providing service to the community, one child and one community at a time, as we are united worldwide in serving the children of the world. It is my pleasure today to serve as moderator for today's forum. The guidelines for our forum are as follows. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to make an introductory statement, 2 minutes to respond to each of the forum questions, and then at the end, 2 minutes for a closing statement. Our timekeeper, Admiral John McKinley, just demonstrated how he will give each speaker a 15-second alert and, if needed, a time's up signal. Thank you, Admiral. We are delighted that Angie Stanley and Zane Vanover, candidates for the Sullivan County mayoral position, are with us here today. We will begin with opening statements from the candidates. First, Angie Stanley, and then Zane Vanover.
Is it working? Yeah. Hi, my name's Angie Stanley, and I'm running for Sullivan County Mayor. I am the current vice chairman for the Sullivan County School Board, and I've been a business owner in Colonial Heights for 36 years. I have a hair salon. I have 12 employees currently that works for me, and 5 of them's been there for 36 years. So my past instructor that taught me in high school, she currently works for me. She's been there for 17 years and got a really good business going. I've been married for 25 years. I've got 2 children, one going to ETSU, one going to Northeast State. And I want to better our county here. I want to bring transparency back to our county government. When commissioners have to FOIA information just to go out and balance the budget, that's unacceptable to me. And the out of control spending that's happening at our county government. People are struggling right now with paying these high property taxes. And to take away from education to pay for this out of control spending is unacceptable to me. Education is one of our #1 economic drivers here. And I will always work with our economic development boards to bring in businesses. And we need to cut a lot of the red tape for them to come here and bring back the trust and integrity to Sullivan County. And my time is up.
Thank you. My name is Zane Vanover. I'm lived in Sullivan County practically my entire life. I've been married to 42 years to my wife Kay. We've got 2 beautiful daughters, 4 beautiful grandchildren, and that's probably my main motivation for doing what I'm wanting to do. We've got to leave a future for this county where our children and grandchildren can plant their roots deep in Sullivan County and grow their hopes high. The future of Sullivan County rests in my children, your grandchildren, my grandchildren. We've got to provide a future for them that they've got hope. I'm a former teacher. I taught in Sullivan County for 15 years. I taught at 3 different high schools. I taught biology. I coached football. I coached baseball. And I've been blessed with a great family. The most important thing I want to share with you is why I want to be mayor. I want to be mayor because, number one, I care. I care about people in Sullivan County. I care about your standard of living. I care about your quality of life. I care about making this county live up to its very most potential that it possibly can. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm qualified to be county mayor. I was a teacher and a coach for 15 years. I ran businesses. I ran a farm for 27 years. I've been on the county commission now for 4 years. I've been elected as chairman pro temp unanimously twice by all the other members of the county commission. Mayor Venable has put a lot of faith in me. I'm on our networks board. I'm on our uh, airport authority. I'm on the budget committee. I'm on the finance committee. So I think I'm prepared for the job. I've learned a lot. I know where everything is. I know how to get things done through relationships. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, candidates, and we will alternate the beginning speaker for each question, so you can share that mic back and forth as an opportunity. And we will begin our questioning with Mr. Vanover. So what do you see as 3 or 4 biggest challenges that Sullivan County faces now and in the future?
I feel like our biggest challenge is addiction. I've been through the county, and addiction is a horrible problem in this county. It destroys lives, it destroys families, and it costs our county taxpayers millions of dollars. Judge Goodwin has started a very great program through some of our abatement funds. The Northeast Tennessee Regional Recovery Center in Roan Mountain is a joint facility where we send some of these people who he identifies through his courts as needing treatment, not incarceration. So Judge Goodwin's done a very good job trying to abate some of these problems with addiction. Our infrastructure has to be improved. We're a growing county. I'm on the airport authority, and we had a meeting yesterday. We've outgrown our little airport. We've built 2 new parking lots. We're looking to do a parking garage. We've added 2 new carriers. We've added 4 more destinations. So that's just one example of how our county is growing. So we've got to be able to manage that growth. We can't just react to it. We've got to plan for it. We've got to have a 10 or 20-year long-term plan to manage our growth. We've got roads that are not sustainable to handle the traffic that we're on, that are on it. We have intersections that are just too busy. You can't even get on the road sometimes. We've got places in this county where there's no public water. And we're working on grants to try to get public water to everywhere in the county. We've got places where the internet is not efficient. So we're working on grants to try to improve that. When businesses want to come and locate here, they look for 3 things. They look for good schools. That's a high priority. Our schools have to be the best. They look for adequate housing, and they look for infrastructure. So if you want to grow this county and bring in businesses, those are 3 things that have to be addressed. So those are some of our top concerns.
Mr. Vanover was correct with the opioid abuse and stuff here in our county. I worked with Judge Goodwin in 2021, and we did the baby doe resolution where we got that abatement money from the lawsuit, and we put that towards the regional drug facility up in Carter County. And we need a regional mental health facility here. I know that President Trump had given the states the authority to open those back up. That would be a huge, huge fix for our jails and for our hospitals. We're running a mental health facility out of our hospitals here and out of our jails. We need to bring back transparency here. We have a lot of lack of the transparency here in our county. The infrastructure, we've got all kinds of people moving here and don't have the infrastructure to fix it. And the third biggest problem is our health care. We have got to repeal this certificate of need and bring in competition here. It's a concern to me that we have an influx of people moving in here and we have doctors leaving. That's a big concern of mine. And I will always work to make sure that we have quality health care here. Our nurses, I think competition would bring up our nurses' pay and keep the cost of our health care down. Thank you.
Thank you. What services do you think the county should work on with Kingsport and Bristol to ensure that all county services are delivered in a quality and cost-effective manner?
Economic development is one of the things I think that we could all work with each other. And that right there would bring in with working with our cities, because when the cities grow, the county grows. And we've also got to work together with our education. Bringing in great education here and making sure that we all have the programs that we need to make sure that our kids are workforce ready. No business is going to move here if we don't have people here ready to work. We need to bring in industries here. And if you don't have the workforce for it, nobody's going to move here. So Kingsport and Bristol and Sullivan County all has done a great job with our CTE programs, getting these kids ready for the workforce whenever they graduate.
Thank you. That's one of the most exciting things for me there is about working with our cities. We've got some great city managers, we've got some great city boards, and they do a fantastic job. And that's one reason I really want to be county mayor, to work with those people, because they know what they need. I think I would know what the county needs. I think we'd have some great relationships. One thing besides economic development, of course, that's the one thing we've all got to work together for, because if you don't work together, that's when the jobs go to Mexico or Mississippi or somewhere else. So we've got to work together with our cities to bring in jobs, economic development. One thing particularly I like to see us work with together would be Pet Works. I know Pet Works and our Sullivan County Animal Shelter have kind of split apart, but I think that would be the first win, I believe, for me as county mayor, is to solve that problem and find a solution that's understandable and a solution that's acceptable to everyone. So people in Kingsport shouldn't have to pay for 2 animal shelters. So I think we can work together on that very well, very easily, and take care of that situation. Aerospace Park out near the airport, that's a big investment. That was a bold investment that all of our regional partners went in together with. It's taken too long to get anything done there. I admit that. But there's a lot of restrictions on that property with federal money. So I think working together with our city partners, with our county partners, can help us move forward on Aerospace Park.
Thank you both. As you know, opportunity zones were created to encourage private investment in economically distressed communities. For example, many Round 1 investments in Tennessee have helped support affordable housing and redevelopment, and Sullivan County has benefited from this investment, particularly in affordable housing. However, during the first round of Opportunity Zone legislation, there was little discussion about how these zones could be fully leveraged for economic development. Some Opportunity Zones in Sullivan County are going to expire on December 31st, 2028. And unfortunately, Tennessee is expected, as our state, to have about 28% fewer zones in the next round. As county mayor, your leadership will be critical in working with the county commission. How do you feel and work with the commission? How would you lead it to ensure that our county fully utilizes the remaining round one opportunity zones and is prepared to maximize round two opportunity zones beginning January 2027? Specifically, what steps would you take as that leader for this effort? To be him next. To get to first.
Opportunity zones are very important to our county. They're very, very important to our cities. I think you'd work with your county commission, you'd work with your neighboring cities just through relationships. You've got to go to Nashville. You've got to know the people in Nashville who have set up these opportunity zones. You've got to make sure that they understand the importance of them, which they do. You've got to keep working with those people. You've got to keep going to the federal side, the state side, working with everyone to bring in those opportunity zones. Don't let them expire. When they do, you've got to make sure that you renegotiate and make sure that they're for the benefit of the citizens. One thing I really worry about is younger people trying to buy that first home. I see it through this county. A lot of people don't have a lot of hope sometimes. And I think that lack of hope leads to addiction. That lack of hope leads to just giving up. But if they've got a way to buy that first home, it gives them a purpose, it gives them a direction, it gives them a future. So these opportunity zones have to be taken advantage of. They have to be reignited. They have to be utilized to the maximum to try to give those young people a first step to buy that first home. And how do you do it? You do it through relationships. You do it through a good relationship with your county commission, which I think as mayor I would have. I think I have the respect of our county commission. I think I have the respect of our neighboring city governments. I think I have the respect from people in Nashville and Washington. So that respect leads to good relationships, that leads to trust, that leads to getting things done.
Back whenever I was on the commission back in 2020, we got to go to Belmont College and meet with President Trump. And I can't remember Scott's last name, but he was over the opportunity zone, and we got to go through some meetings on that. And these grants are out here. And I have worked with our congresswoman and with our senator here to get grants. And I have that relationship with our federal government, and I also have that relationship with our state and our local governments. I will always work with our county commission. I think that we will probably have quite a few new commissioners this next time. And it's important that somebody is in there that can bring those people together and understand how the county government works. With me having 8 years experience on that, I know how the county government works. And then I know how it works through the business side. But the opportunity zones are very important here to make sure that these grants and stuff are implemented.
As many in this room will recall, several years ago, the Sullivan County Commission voted to reduce the number of county commissioners from 24 to 15. Subsequently, they reversed themselves before the effective date and kept the same number. While other counties in the region, such as Washington County, have successfully reduced their numbers. How do you feel about reducing the total number of Sullivan County commissioners? Ms. Stanley first.
It confuses the voters, I think, when we have 7 districts on our school board and we have 1 member per district. I think that the county would work best if we did those same districts so it did not confuse all the voters, you could have 7 districts and put 2 commissioners per district. That would be 14. We've got some very rural areas though here in our county. It's a big county. We got 900 miles of road in Sullivan County. And you've got some areas that are highly populated in a very dense area. So yes, I would support downsizing the commission because a lot of times it's hard to get 24 commissioners at a census of any business. And I know that we had 2 times that we had voted on that. The first time I voted against it. The second time I voted for it.
I think it'd be a great idea to make a smaller government. Smaller government's better government. You can't get 24 people to agree where to go eat. It's just too many people to try to agree on anything. I think cutting the number down to 14, 15 would be a great idea. We had a resolution this year that I was a co-sponsor on that didn't get much traction, but I would very much be in favor of going down to a smaller number of commissioners. They did that in Washington County. They went from 25 to 15. They said it's one of the best things they've ever done. And I can see the value of that real quickly. So as a conservative Republican, smaller government is better government. I would be all for that. Of course, that's going to be something the county commission votes on. The mayor can't wave a wand and make it happen. But I think the influence of the mayor, if he's a respected mayor, could influence the county commission to do that and do the right thing. So smaller government's better government. I'd be totally for that.
Why don't you just stay right there? What are your most important qualifications to be the county mayor of Sullivan County?
I think forming relationships, harvesting relationships, and maintaining relationships is the most important quality I have. I'm very good at talking to people. I'm very good at listening to people. I think listening is probably the number one trait that a good leader has to have. If you can't listen, you don't understand. If you don't understand, you can't make good decisions. So I think being a good listener, being a good communicator, being a good fellow commissioner, a good fellow legislator, and having those relationships and using those relationships when you need them to get something done. One example of 22 months ago, we were trying to hire a grant coordinator in our county. So many people were against that, but I talked to the commissioners during our work sessions, finally convinced them that we need to hire a grant coordinator. They believed in me, they trusted me. 22 months ago, we hired a grant coordinator. We set up $70,000 for a program. She's been doing the job for 22 months. She's brought in $3.5 million. So I think if you explain things to people, like the value of relationships, the value of your resolutions, you can get things done. Last night, we refinanced our school bonds that saved us $3.5 million. So I think to be able to explain to your fellow commissioners what you're trying to do, to get them to buy into your vision, and those type of relationships are invaluable. So I think relationships would be a short answer.
Thank you.
I feel like that I am qualified to be your next mayor. I've been on the county commission from 2014 to 2022 for 8 years. I worked with the education department for the Tennessee County Service Association. I was the president for that. I worked with people across the state with education. And I was the president for that for 3 years. And I've been on the school board for 2 years, vice chairman now. And I have that working relationship with people. Having a hair salon and got all them employees. Listen, I hear every day people's needs and concerns. And when you're behind that chair talking to those people, they want you to listen. And I've heard a lot from being in my salon from all of my employees and their customers and stuff. And anytime that anybody ever had an issue in this county, in my district, I always addressed it. Whether it was my road has not been paved since 1973 or I need a guardrail up. And the working relationships, I worked with Wayne Anderson back in 2018. We started on the SROs in every single school here in Sullivan County. And we couldn't get the numbers down to where we didn't have to raise taxes and be a burden on the taxpayers. And I worked with Sheriff Cassidy after he first got elected. And we passed that and got school resource officers in every single school here in Sullivan County without a tax increase, because we found the reoccurring school safety grants at the state level. So you got to have those working relationships.
Other than the advice given by the Sullivan County Finance Department, the county mayor and the county commission do not appear to receive the same level of research and analysis that the cities of Kingsport and Bristol receive. Do you think the county would benefit from having more professional staff in the county mayor's office? And if so, in what ways?
I think it is the job of the mayor to sit here and work with our cities and not set and cut the city's budget at the last minute and not have that relationship with our city mayors, because it puts our city mayors in a hard position. They have to balance their budget, and when they've done balance their budget and we haven't here at the county level, the cities have a shortfall and they have to make up that money somewhere. So I will always work with our cities to make sure that we are transparent in our county government with our cities whenever it comes to doing their budget.
I think we need to professionalize our county government some. I think we need to bring in some more ideas. I think we need to be more professional. I think we need to communicate better. I think we have to have more transparency. You can't expect people to buy into a vision unless they know what it is. So transparency is a big issue with myself also. You got to be transparent. It is a taxpayer money. You got to let them know where their money is going, for what purpose, how long it's going to be encumbered for. So you got to work on transparency. You got to work on communication. You got to work on a professional staff to take our county government to the next level. Our finance department has done a good job. We got an audit back about 2 weeks ago. It was a clean audit except for one finding that one committee did not meet one time. So our finance department's been doing a very good job. I think a goal would be to professionalize our county government and reduce the number of commissioners would be two things that would be very valuable.
Last year, there was a discussion in the county commission to outsource tourism promotion by using the county's hotel and motel tax revenue. What is your opinion about that? And do you see this as an opportunity to coordinate with Kingsport and Bristol?
I don't know if outsourcing is the right word. I think we're really taking our promotion of tourism in our county out of the hands of government, putting in the private sector. The private sector seems to always be able to do more with less. So we've had some interviews for contractors to use the half of the occupancy tax that's going to our county. Those interviews are over with. I know 1 or 2 companies have applied that just focus on rural tourism development and promotion. So I think that would be a good step in promoting our county part of our tourism. NETA, Northeast Tennessee Tourism Association, gets the other half of our occupancy tax money. They share with Kingsport and Bristol, as they should, because that's where most of the funds come from in the first place. So I think having that dual ability to promote tourism in the cities and to promote tourism in the county would be a good idea. Whoever gets the award for the tourism money for the county portion, I hope they'll work with NETA. They should work with NETA because NETA does a great job working with our Kingsport and Bristol entities too. So I think it's not really called outsourcing. I think it's putting it back in the hands of private business where they can actually do more with less. So I'm very excited about that. Tourism is going to be a big part of our future. Don't know how many people know this or not, but the state law says that 50% of sales tax dollars go to your schools, except for Sevier County. Sevier County has so much tourism and so much tax in that tourism that they can't spend all of it. We don't want to be Sevier County, but we'd be like to have a little bit of Sevier County. So I think that shows the value of tourism and the value of bringing in sales tax dollars and the impact it could have on our county and our cities.
When I was a commissioner, I had a very great relationship with NETA, and tourism has grown here. It's grown in Kingsport and it's grown in Bristol too. And when you have tourism, you bring people in here, that's the less burden that we have on our taxpayers by bringing in revenue here. And it's important that we try to push tourism here and make sure that we're bringing in more revenue. Like Bristol Motor Speedway, look at all the things that they're doing up there now. They've got the baseball games there, they got the football games there, and tourism is a big thing that could help our county, and I will always support bringing in new tourism here.
One of the major challenges the county faces is recruiting new businesses, ones that bring a high number of quality jobs and pay more than the median income, which most recently is $57,000. As county mayor, how would you address this situation?
We need to start cutting a lot of the red tape for businesses to move in here. People that are in the median income, they're struggling right now to buy a house. I know both of my kids, they're 23 and 24 years old, and they couldn't buy a house right now. The market's up and the wages are down, and we've got to recruit some more industrial businesses here, not your $10, $15 an hour jobs. We've got to get some more higher paying jobs here. And we could even use some of the money that with the opportunity zone, to help people start out on their first home. And when you've got people that put politics over these businesses, that's why people are not coming here. I've had that experience in the past of trying to bring businesses in, and they didn't want them to come here because their buddy wanted to do the same thing. We've got to do what the people wants here and listen to the people and bring in the revenue and bring these jobs here and quit being so political about it.
Well, I brought in businesses to this county. Got property on Stone Drive. I've developed a Walgreens. I've developed a Weigels. I'm working now to develop some grocery stores on the eastern end of Kingsport. So I know what businesses want. I know what they're looking for. I know what it takes to get them here. So I brought in businesses. I brought in jobs, and I can do a lot more of it. A big part of the mayor's role is economic development. And there's two ways to do it. First of all, you got to go out and recruit. You've got to be the Josh Heupel of economic development. You got to get out there and you got to show people what your county is. You got to show them the benefits of coming to your county. And the other way is to increase jobs through existing businesses. Most new jobs are created through existing businesses, and you do that by making a fertile ground for new business. You got to cultivate a business-friendly environment, I would be all about that. I know what businesses look for. I know what it takes to get them here. I know what it takes to keep them here. And those businesses bring in jobs. And to meet those jobs, an education has to be a main focus in our county, because they won't come unless there's people here ready to work in those jobs. We've got to have adequate housing for the people to live in. We've got to have the infrastructure. So I know how to recruit jobs. I know how to recruit businesses, and I'll be doing a lot more of it.
While Kingsport and Sullivan County are spending over $1.2 million for 2 animal shelters, Johnson City and Washington County contributed a total of $550,000 this year, and they've worked together for over 35 years. Additionally, about 45% of the property tax in Sullivan County comes from properties in Kingsport, or $315,000 of the $700,000 for Sullivan County. Since the time that Sullivan County pulled out of the SBK, which was Sullivan, Bluff City, and Kingsport Animal Services, in fiscal year 2018, and Kingsport's support of PetWorks Animal Services has gone up 120%, approximately $660,000 more. As county mayor, do you think this should be addressed as soon as possible to ensure taxpayers that you are using money wisely?
I do. As I said earlier, I think that's going to be our first win as county mayor. There's no reason the residents of Kingsport should be paying for 2 animal shelters. We spend a lot of money on the Sullivan County Animal Shelter because there's a lot of animals in the rural part of Sullivan County. But the two I'm not sure what the desire of PetWorks would be, but we could either incorporate, we could combine, we could do whatever it takes to address that problem, because residents of Kingsport do not need to be paying for 2 animal shelters. I've said that forever. I remember when PetWorks was built, Tom Parham and I, we went out and we found land to put it on. So PetWorks has been something to me that's been very special, because it does a lot of good things in Sullivan, in Kingsport. So making PetWorks and the Sullivan County Animal Shelter work together in whatever way it has to do to benefit the residents of Kingsport is something that we'll have to do. That'll be our first win.
I was on the PetWorks board and the SBK whenever they were all together, and I got the PetWorks put into our budget. I was the sponsor on that and gave $75,000 for the piece of property down in Kingsport for it. I've always supported our animal shelters. Just everybody needs to do their homework. We need to bring people together to save the taxpayers' money. But I don't think saying that you support PetWorks and you voted to put their budget to 0 is not sitting here supporting our PetWorks. I've always supported our animal shelters here. It's important that we have animal control and make sure that the people gets the best bang for the buck.
In the 1990s, the county provided $10 million to both Kingsport and Bristol for new sewer collection lines in the potential growth areas that were outside the city limits, in order to facilitate the development of a more affordable housing throughout the county. An example is the major sewer line that is subsidized along Fall Creek. Do you feel the county could do more to help the cities and their utilities outside the city limits in order to facilitate higher quality development? And what other efforts has the county taken to facilitate the development, again, of more affordable housing throughout our county?
I would support doing the sewer in the more rural areas to help the cities and stuff grow. They had a memorandum agreement between Bristol and Kingsport and Sullivan County back in the 1990s. And I think the county still owes like $3 million for the sewer up in Bristol. Like I said, when the cities thrive, the county thrives. And we have got to go in here and prepare these developments before the developments get here. People go down the road up here in Piney Flats. You know where Food City is there. You can't even turn left at all. And we just have not been prepared for the influx of people that's moving here. And that will be one of my number one priorities, is making sure that we have the infrastructure with the water and the sewer, and work with our cities to make sure that that happens.
Infrastructure, as I've said all day long, is one of the most important things we've got to get back to in this county. We should be in the sewer business. Now, if you want to develop a piece of property for a housing development or something else in the county, we have to ask for it to be annexed. And that's just a very cumbersome procedure. So, and if you keep annexing and annexing, you won't have much county left. So we need to get back into the sewer business. We need to get those trunk lines built again. And we need to open up our county to more development. Like I said, we're growing. It's a very fast growing county. We've got to meet those needs for infrastructure. We need to get back in the sewer business. We need to get back into extending water lines, places where we don't have them. So all of our infrastructure has to be upgraded, especially the sewer lines. It was a mistake to ever get out of the sewer business, I think. So I think we should be back in the sewer business, installing those trunk lines. So very important for the future of Sullivan County.
The new state of Tennessee funding, which was designed to improve education across the entire state in fiscal year 24, resulted in $29 million new dollars for the 3 school systems in Sullivan County. Unfortunately, the county decided to reduce the property tax for education by $10,800,000 plus. So even with the growth in sales tax, there was a negative 32% impact on the county school systems from the state's desired funding improvements. What would you propose to correct this situation and to ensure that there is better information for the county commission in the future?
I have always supported education. As your next mayor, I will make sure that our school systems are funded at the proper levels. Taking away the property taxes is like gambling. You never know what the sales tax is going to do. If we was to go through a recession or something, we're hurting in our education system. And you can't provide the programs that education needs if we don't have the funding for it. And, you know, they say that when you kind of climb that ladder and you're about to fall over the top, that's where we are right now. If they continue taking away the money from education. So as your next mayor, I will make sure that those monies are not taken away from our education so we can bring more businesses in here.
I would be one of the first to say that we need to reallocate education money back to property tax from sales tax. It is dangerous if sales tax continues to grow, or if we were more like Sevier County, it would be okay. but our county is not Sevier County. So we need to reallocate funds back in education from sales tax to property tax. Be one of the first things I would do as mayor. I've made that promise to our city schools. I made that promise to a lot of people. You can't gamble on education. So we would reallocate. It can't all be done at one time, but it'll be done incrementally. We'll give the cities back what they've lost. We'll add to our county's education budget, because I tell people education is the only answer to all of our problems. If you think about it and get down to it, it is the answer to all of our problems. So they should not be a higher priority. And as a former teacher, I've been in the trenches 15 years teaching. I've got a master's degree in education. I've seen the value of it from both sides of the desk. So education is probably the nearest and deepest thing to my heart that there is. So no stone will go unturned. No education department will be lacking what they should have when I'm mayor of this county.
In the last 20 years, Northeast Tennessee has not had remarkable success with major road projects. While we are beginning to see SR 93 improved to I-81 at Fall Branch and SR 126 Memorial Highway to I-81, they have been on the project board, ladies and gentlemen, for 25 to 35 years. Would you commit to a major transportation plan for Sullivan County, coordinated with Bristol and Kingsport's Metropolitan Transportation Planning Organizations? Ms. Stanley.
I spoke with Mayor Montgomery about this the other day. You know, Kingsport's kind of landlocked. You know, we're running out of property to put businesses. And on Highway 36 in Colonial Heights, that goes all the way to the State Route 75, that up there is all commercial land. And people are just waiting for that road to be a 5-lane to finish that. That right there would open up a lot of the area there for Kingsport to grow. We could do the infrastructure. And that's some of the ways that we can get Kingsport to grow where it's landlocked. I know that back in 2020, we had that put on the MPO plan, the long-term plan. And we got the preliminary phase done, part of the surveying phase done, and then they stopped. I got a call this morning about Highway 93 getting expanded. We don't have a whole lot of good communication there because they're shutting down that road down to 1 lane. What about our emergency services? Our fire, our rescue? And we need to make sure that our communications and stuff are open from the state and the federal level whenever these things are happening, so it doesn't impact our first responders.
I'm all about planning for the future, and we definitely need to have a comprehensive traffic plan for Sullivan County. Like I said, the growth coming in, we've got no other choices. There are intersections that people can't even get onto the roads for. You'll sit through red lights 3 or 4 times sometimes trying to get out onto the main road. So we'll work with our state TDOT. I've worked with them on many occasions to get turn lanes up 11W. If you go up 11W, going toward Bristol, you've seen a lot of turn lanes have been built there. So worked with TDOT to try to facilitate that along with our state representatives. TDOT's good to work with. They got their own time frame, but they'll listen and they understand the needs of East Tennessee. So a comprehensive plan needs to be done. Intersections need to be revitalized. Red lights need to be modernized. And the plan needs to be done now because there's no reason to put a power line or a water line somewhere that's going to have to be taken up in a few years to expand a road. So planning needs to be done now, and the roads are a major part of that. Interstate 26 between Kingsport and Johnson City, I don't go that way. I know a lot of other people do either. So we can see how bad that is. So these plans have to be made. They have to be made now. We got to plan for the future. like I said, if we're going to let our kids and grandkids plant deep roots and grow a future, we got to have things prepared for them.
And our final question, what should the mayor's office do on a regular basis to help citizens understand the safeguards in Tennessee law to ensure property owners are not usually harmed in the regular reappraisal process every 4 years, which is now going to be on a 2-year cycle in Sullivan County? As a note, Tennessee consistently ranks among the lowest 10 states, that's in the country, for property taxes. Again, Tennessee consistently ranks among the lowest 10 states for property taxes and among the lowest 4 states for overall state and local impact. Mr. Van Holt.
What does the mayor's office need to do? They need to communicate. We don't tell our story very well at all in Sullivan County, and it's a great story, and it's only going to get better. And I'd be proud to communicate that. We've got to work on our websites where anyone can go to their phone, look at sullivancounty.gov, and find anything they need to know. We need to have a social media presence. That's the way people get their news now. So we've got to have a social media presence. I would copy something that Mayor Sullivan done when he became mayor of Kingsport with an e-newsletter. I've gotten that since he started it. It's been very informative. As a county mayor, we need to do the same thing. So we need to communicate our story, tell our story. It's a beautiful story. We need to give people information about what's coming. When we knew the reappraisals were coming, I think that's that the year's reappraisals are coming, and I asked the question. I said, "What do we do to get ahead of this and warn people what's coming?" He said, "Well, tell everyone." We didn't tell everyone clearly enough. We didn't make that plain, and people got blindsided about the reappraisals. So we've got to be better communicators. We've got to be better at telling your story. The mayors should go out and have forums like this all the time. If I'm Sullivan County Mayor, I'd love to go out into the Kiwanis, the Optimist clubs, the churches, any civic groups there is, and meet with those on a weekly basis. So the mayor needs to get out, talk to people, let them know what's coming, improve our social media, improve our website, improve our communication and our transparency.
I agree. We do need better transparency here in our county. I know that meeting with a lot of the department heads and stuff that they said, I've been here for 20 years and never sat down and had the first meeting with the mayor. I think that's important that we have at least a monthly meeting with our department heads to see how effective and efficiently that they are running and what they need and how we can work towards getting those goals. And that's not being done right now. And as your next mayor, we need to be, like I said, more transparent. We need to get things out to the public, be a little bit more internet friendly for people to get on our website and make sure that the people know these reassessments were terrible for people. Not only doubled, but some tripled. And you can't get a hold of people, to make your appointment and stuff. And it's just the communication there is very poorly, I think, in my opinion. I will be better at communicating with all of our department heads to make sure that they can run effective and efficiently and make sure that the public knows what's going on with your tax dollars.
At this time, candidates will provide their closing statements, beginning with Mr. Vanover.
Well, first of all, thank you for letting us be here. I always love to come to Kiwanis. It's a great group of people. See a lot of friends here, so thank you for letting us be here. Honored to be able to speak before you. But in closing, I think what people need to remember with this election is, how do you want your future to go? How do you want the future of Sullivan County to go? Like I said, do you want to be able to let those kids plant their roots and and grow their hopes high. We need to have a county that's more united and not more divided. We need to have a county where the leadership listens and doesn't label people. We need to have a county where the door is always open anytime anyone has a question. We need to have a mayor, a leadership that's going to be looking at for the future. Grounded growth. If you look at my card I passed out, that's what's on the front of it. Grounded growth. We've got to grow, but we've got to do it our way. We can't just react to it. We've got to plan for it. We've got to plan in decades, not election cycles. We've got to do 10-year, 20-year facility plans. That saves money. When you're just reacting to emergencies all the time, emergencies are very expensive. So we've got to be able to forecast our capital needs. We've got to plan for them. We've got to save for them and pay cash for them instead of credit. That saves taxpayers a lot of money. I've been blessed to be on this county commission. I've always worked hard on the county commission. I've worked hard everywhere I've been. So the future of Sullivan County is very important. So check your candidates, get all your information, and you have to decide if you want a show horse or a workhorse. I'm the workhorse. Thank you.
I would just advise everybody to make sure that you do your homework. On the mailers that come out, just make sure that you do your homework, because a lot of the stuff on there is false. Like the SROs, they were put into our schools back in 2018 that I sponsored that resolution. And I'm not being negative, I'm stating the facts. I will always work hard for our county here to make sure that our county has what we need. The taxpayers deserve that. The taxpayers deserve to have somebody that will make sure that your money is being spent correctly and you know where it's going. As a business owner for 36 years, I have the business knowledge. I've got the government knowledge from the county commission for 8 years, and I've been on our school system for 2 years. So I know how the government works. I've had 12 employees right now. I've had up to 18 employees in my salon. And I'm just that little old hairstylist, that I've always been the blue collar worker. My husband's always been a blue collar worker. He's a utility operator for 38 years at Eastman. And I've always known how it is to work hard for what I have. I never married into wealth. And I've always worked hard, and I know how it is to make that money. And I would appreciate y'all's support whenever y'all go vote. And early voting here in Kingsport starts on April the 23rd. And May the 5th will decide who your next mayor is. And I appreciate y'all's support, and God bless you. And thank you all for having us.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in not only thanking them for their participation, but also for their informative presentations. Our special thanks are extended to the Kiwanis Civic and Business Affairs Committee and its chair, Brent Mullins. And for each of you, think very carefully, do as the candidates have suggested. This is maybe a beginning for many of you, but look at, and after the close of this meeting, we invite you to stay and get to know the mayoral candidates and perhaps to question a response that you would need to have. So again, thank each of you, and it was my pleasure to serve as your moderator.